you've gotten a couple of cuts at a diagnosis from various points of view. Given the intertwined set of challenges, what do you do first? What's job one?
I think it's an issue of paradigms. I started my involvement in this arena in graduate school in city and regional planning, and then I served on the Highway Commission in the state of North Carolina in the early 90s. They just changed the name from Highway Commission to Department of Transportation Board, and what that meant is that instead of 99% of the money being used for highways, instead of 100% of the money being used for highways, only 99% of the money was being used for highways. And I believe during that time period, the last road in Wake County, which is the fairly large county where Raleigh, North Carolina is, the last dirt road was paved. And that was an objective of the Highway Department in North Carolina, was to pave every dirt road in the state. And I just would ask, is that really a valid objective? There were roads paved when I was on the Highway Board that had 5 trips a day. That's a driveway, in my view of the world, not a road. And the cost of doing that was exorbitant. And it was in the pursuit of a philosophical objective or a political objective, which I think was very valid in the 40s or 50s perhaps, which is that we needed to connect America. We needed farmers to be able to get to market. But at this point, we're substantially connected. And transportation policy is, in fact, land use policy, and it either promotes or discourages sprawl, which in turn forces us to use more energy or prevents us from using as much energy. There's great data out there now on the energy impact of different land use patterns. And meanwhile, we have a demographic shift which is biased more in a direction of living a more urban lifestyle. It just seems to me that we need to factor in, we need to combine our thinking about transportation with our thinking about land use and say, what's the shape of the communities that we want, and what's the cost that we're willing to incur as a society from an energy standpoint, from a security standpoint, and from a financial cost standpoint of the infrastructure of sprawl-type development. So I just think that kind of paradigm, and it's happening because of conversations like this, which would not have occurred at either Democratic or Republican conventions in the past. I think this is kind of the beginning of that. I'm a Republican, have been my whole life, and would regard myself as a very conservative person. It never made sense to me why we would tax ordinary people and use that money to in essence, subsidize this form of sprawl development. As a fiscal conservative, it was illogical.